Well, here's an old Atlantic, a 303. It had smoke. It has everything in it. I can put the smoke back in. It has the gear, actually, so I'm going to put the smoke back in it. I have a smoke system right over there I can put in it, okay? I put in the thin magnet. I believe that's the Thin Man magnet. And it has a non-pulmorometer. It's been set up, but it was set up before I had my new tools for the spacing of the gear and the spacing of the wheels. So you can see there's a little out of bent wheel kind of thing, and the drive gear is off center a little bit. And you can see the red fields from the DC armature conversion that we did. But I also wanted to point out to the red mounting tabs, because this engine, I could not use this engine because whoever sent it to me took off the mounting tabs. Now you can get the screws pretty easy, but it's hard to get the mounting tabs. I took my 3D printer and my CAD program, and I designed a set of tabs that are 2 millimeters thick, and I'm using 100% infill, meaning they're solid plastic for 2 millimeters. And they could break, but they're pretty durable, and I think they're going to be reliable enough. And if they do break, you'll know it, and you'll print a new one, or call me and I'll send you one. And I think they're going to work just fine. I love having red parts on the engine. That just helps me know what we're doing and how it's going. So I was encouraged with that, and that gives me another Atlantic I can build up with all the smoke and the technology that I have. Then I had this other, I was in my drawers, not my drawers, the drawers of my desk, looking for things, and I ran across this old engine. I had built and demonstrated a different engine earlier today that was 3D printed. And for a while I was on this 3D printing thing pretty heavily. That's an Atlantic that I 3D printed. There's a Pacific I 3D printed. And this baby happens to be a Northern that I 3D printed. Don't have all the wheels in it, but I got a few. And I drug it out, and I went through it a little bit. Every time you do one of these, you learn more, and you can apply that knowledge to the last one you built. So there's a Northern with a black motor mount, black magnetic fields, black chassis, and a black lower chassis, black plastic, and a red and a black smoke gear. Yeah. There's that. There's a bar that goes across here that emulates the old mounting bars. My idea was to build an engine. I was going to build an engine. This was just the blank for the body, and then I would change the details. But things get out of hand and change directions here and there. I went into the sound and stuff like that, so that changed. Any case, I'm okay, I'll be all right. It'll be fun. I think we'll get back to this. I'd love to build some Northern Mountain streamlined somethings, that were never made. or maybe just design some new engines that no, they weren't made because they're just now engineered. I think that might be fun to do. So there's a Northern with the big magnet motor. I mean, the next gen S big magnet motor. That's not a screamer, you know. It's not a screamer, but it ought to be. I don't think anybody could stop this engine. That's very smooth, 30 volts. Very smooth. There's 17 volts. Ball bearing axles, ball bearing smoke gear, and a front ball bearing on the motor. There's some gear noise. That could be alignment, it could be the gear, it could be lack of grease, maybe it's low on grease. But boy, that's pretty doggone smooth. And there's 5 volts. Some of the challenge when I put these bearings in, I didn't sink them in far enough, and I used up some axle. So what I need to do is learn more from this, and I need to sink the ball bearings in deeper so that I have the full length of the axle to put the parts on. And that's going to go a long way to making this reliable instantly right away, in my opinion. And boy, I'm just excited. The other thing is, this is a Royal Blue O-gauge American Flyer, and A.C. Gilbert put all of his S-gauge stuff on the O-gauge chassis so that if you change this chassis out, you can use all your S-gauge stuff in a O-gauge Royal Blue. So that if I take my 3D printed Pacific chassis, put all this gear on it, I could fit it into the Royal Blue, bolt it in. So you could then think, now, can you 3D print a Royal Blue chassis? Now could you 3D print something that is modeled after the Royal Blue streamliner and make it a different kind of streamliner, a different shape, a different theme? You could go into steampunk and decorate it with piping and valves, and just you could go into space, make it look like a rocket. You could go into what's the guy with the wand and all that, Harry Potter. I mean, you could develop what I call theme engines. I have a theme engine for the intelligence community. I have a theme engine for the Wizard of Oz. I have a theme engine for Abraham Lincoln's funeral train. I have 3 Corvette theme engines, 2 steam, 1 diesel. So you can build a theme engine about some topic, and you can shape the body of the train any way you want. These interfaces, the screw interfaces, are what are the standards, okay? And those you can get, those would be sent in a file. So you print the interface layer. I've been modeling these for years now. So this is the interface board that I've been using. So all of these points are the mounts for the steam engine, and all the way back to the cab mounts, the mid mounts, and then the front mounts. Their heights, spaces that are necessary, how that ramps up and down. so that you could get this file and build on top of it an engine. The challenge that I had early on when I got through some of this was that the plastic doesn't weigh very much. So then I had to start putting weights on it to get it heavy. And I've been talking to Jim Shea about that. And one idea we had was if the lower plate was steel, then that would put bulk on it. I'll get back to this. Take care.